Okay. Almost there, guys. There I am. There I am. I'm going to try and do this. Okay. Are we time? Oh, yeah. 3 minutes after. I appreciate your patience as I'm getting this stuff done. Okay, Michelle, I'm live. All right. Well, should we wait another second? Who was that just said I'm on? That's kind of cute. Ah, Angie, you made it. Welcome. Awesome. Okay, so today's class is on, and I've got you guys here. Right here is my phone, and then I have you guys there. So I'm going to kind of be looking from one to the other a little bit so that, yay, Mary, you made it. Sorry about the 7 o'clock. Link doesn't work. Last week's worked. It was a different kind of link. Took me to YouTube. Yeah, this one is on Hangouts. So I don't know. Okay, let me copy this. I'm going to go into. Can you get into the Google at all? Or maybe I should post this on here. I'll comment it down here. Okay, so I just put the YouTube one on. There we go. There you go, Michelle. You should be good to go. Okay, and I think everything's closed now, so it should be working just fine. All right, so let's get started. Okay, BIDI Club. The BIDIA Club was one of Mary Kay's favorite things to talk about, and it was the But I Did It Anyway Club. And so I think this is a really important class to talk, or session to talk about, especially after last week. We talked about how to overcome objections for getting started, with the starter kit. And now we're talking about how to overcome your own personal objections and things that are going on in your life. Mary Kay so many times told us, don't use your family as an excuse. Use them. Oh, hold on. I was trying to get that light out of the way. Use them as a reason. Okay. There. Michelle says she's on YouTube. Okay. Use them as a reason, not as an excuse. And so I know that there were so many times with 9 moves that we made. I started in Mary Kay in Alabama, and we were there just about a year and a half. Won my first car. We moved to Florida, Sarasota. We were there about a year and a couple of months. Then we went to Manassas, won my second car, became a director, was there about 2 years. Then went to Charlotte, North Carolina. We were there about 2 years, won my first Cadillac. Went to Winchester, stepped out of my Cadillac into an Achiever car. Then re-won the Cadillac, and then headed to Atlanta. We were in Winchester for 4 years. Then we were in Atlanta for about 2 years, Orlando for about 2 years, Fort Myers for 5 years, and now we've been in Indiana for 4 years. And I'm not moving anymore. Just so you know, the plan is that we're not going to move anymore until retirement. And so, so anyway, I could have used every one of those moves as an excuse. Oh, well, I can't because. But remember last week when I said, if your why is big enough, the how-to won't matter. Is big enough, the obstacles won't matter either way. Either you won't keep using your reasons as an excuse. One of my reasons why I did Mary Kay is because we moved so much. It was an awesome way to meet new people. it was an awesome way to keep my business going. When we moved here, we didn't sell our house yet. It was like a little window of like 3 weeks, closing on this house and then closing on that house. Well, the mortgage company told me, I mean, I had to jump through so many hoops, told me that I had to prove to them that I could sustain my income after moving. And so what ended up happening, some of you, I think, are jumping over to YouTube or going to the Google Plus because they said it's blinking or something or freezing up. I don't see it on my end. So anyway, so I had to actually prove to them, because they said that in their experience, when home-based businesses move, they lose money. I'm like, well, Mary Kay is not your typical home-based business. And I literally had to prove to them with the marketing plan. I mean, I even had to get Cindy Fox to write them a letter and explain our marketing plan so that they would realize. And that next year, I actually made like $20,000, no, it was like $10,000 more. And I so wanted to go to that mortgage guy and just say, just by the way, just wanted to show you, I increased my income the year removed as opposed to decrease it. So, so many times what you're saying to yourself is what's holding you back, or actually probably reasons you should be doing Mary Kay, or doing more. You guys are doing Mary Kay, but doing more of your business. If you don't have the time to do Mary Kay, there's also a window of what is it called? Not work smart, work smart. Don't work hard, work smart. It wasn't that one. Oh gosh, we should do the 9 a.m. when my brain is working. Short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. That's what I was meaning to say, that there's sometimes this little window where you have to make that short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain. So if you don't have a lot of time and you don't particularly like the job that you have, then you may have to double up, and you may have to work a little extra. Hey, Holly, you may have to work a little extra on your Mary Kay in times that you'd rather watch TV, in order for you to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do them. Okay, work smarter, work smart, not hard. You're right, Greta. That's what it is. Work smart, not hard. And that has been my theme in Mary Kay from the start. But the other is become a find a way, make a way. I remember, and you love my stories. I hope you do. I love telling them. So I was on my way to Renee Horner. She was my first offspring director. I had been a director for 3 months. So this is my 4th month as a director. And we were having a snowstorm. It was January, and it was like 12 inches of snow. And my flight was to go out at 6 o'clock in the morning, because it was still dark. So it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I checked, I think I had a cell phone then. Anyway, I checked something. I don't know, maybe I called in. I checked something to find out if the flight was canceled, and it hadn't been canceled. And I literally got in my car and drove down Interstate 66. This was going to DC. I had to drive into DC. It was about a 40-minute drive. The plows were on the other side of the highway. They had not plowed my side of the highway at all. At all. I had 12 inches of snow. I basically plowed my own way. Got to the airport and had to just kind of think, like, maybe there's a parking spot here, because I couldn't see anything, because, you know, they hadn't plowed that up yet either. And and the whole time I was going through this because I wanted to be with my offspring director. And it would have been really easy to have said, you know what, it's snowing, there's 12 inches of snow on the ground, and I can't do it. But Mary Kay taught me to be a find a way, make a way. As I'm driving, you know, white knuckled, trying to see the road, because it's still snowing, and trying to see the road as I'm driving down I-66, I kept saying, I can do this. I can do this. I can find a way, make a way. I can do this. And I just kept, like, literally giving myself this pep talk, driving all the way. We were one of 2 flights that went out that day, one of 2 flights that went out, and I got to Florida, and I was there for for Rainy's debut, and it was awesome, and it was hot. It was like 80 degrees. It was like, oh, this doesn't really suck that bad. Who gets to find a way, make a way? You can do this through 12 inches of snow to go down to Florida where it turned out to be like 85 degrees, and I'm like stripping off my clothes, like this is so hot, kind of thing. And so anyway, you want to be a find a way, make a way. And there's always a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. If there's not one way, there's another way. And I know sometimes it seems like there's only one way, but there's more than one. And so it's really just a matter of finding the new way, you know, and sometimes it's a new thought that you need to think. And if you can't think that new thought, if you don't have it in your head of what the new thought is, then ask somebody, because either me or Cindy Fox, our national, or any director that you could just message off of Facebook can help you think a new thought, you know, because sometimes you just doesn't come to you. So you got to like, what, you know, what do I need to do kind of thing. Choose to be a victor and not a victim. I don't know, Cindy Williams is part of our national, the Ruby seminar, and we're in the Ruby seminar, and she does a lot of V's, and this V is because she's a victor. She's been a victim in so many areas in her life, and she's like, I'm the victor over it all. And so you want to be a victor, not a victim in your life, and you want to be that, but I did it anyway. You know, I drove through the snow, but I did it anyway. I've moved, I've raised kids. I had kids going to high school. I had kids going to college. Chris was in sports, and Cole was in cheerleading. And hey, Lauren, you know what? It's probably, if it's blurry, it's probably the lighting, because normally I'm this way. And for some reason, I chose this computer instead of this computer. And so that could be why I'm a little blurry. If you want to, go to the Facebook page, and there is the link that will take you directly to YouTube, where you can watch me on that. So anyway, but I did it anyway. And I think this really goes to everything that we do in life. You know, you could choose because of the way your parents raised you. You could say, oh, well, you know, if I had different parents, if, you know, I had brothers and sisters, if I didn't have brothers and sisters, if I, you know, went to a big school, if I went to a small school, I mean, you could always, in every scenario, you know what, maybe if I turn this fan off. I think it's off. And no, this pajamas, this actually is a dress. Maybe that is getting some of the attention of the video. So anyway, being a victor, not a victim, and choosing to live a different life. I so often, in just talking and communicating with young people, you know, in marriages and that kind of stuff, I often talk about my dad. And my dad's dad was not somebody who he wanted to copy. And in watching him be the absolute opposite, his dad was a womanizer. And my parents have been married now for 60 years as of last month, for 60 years. They just went on, at 81 and 82 years old, they just went on a day cruise up through Norway, and I can't remember, I can't wait to see them to find out everywhere they went. But they're the best of friends. And I've never even seen my dad, oh, it's starting to go blurry, look at another one. But my dad also told me at one point that he made a conscious decision to not be like his dad. And when you can make the conscious choice to not do something, then you can change that. But until you do, you will fall into the patterns of what you were, okay? And so think about, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Like, if you guys haven't seen Pam Shaw's Why story, it is so good. I didn't even watch all of it yet. But it is so powerful. Her why, there were so many times that she could have just crawled in a hole and pulled the hole in after her, as Cindy Fox would say. And there's so many times that she could have just given up and quit and didn't, because she knew who she wanted to be. She knew what she wanted her lifestyle to be. She knew who she wanted her friends to be, the influence that she would have on others, because she had a very clear decision on who she wanted to be. And so then it just became living that out of who you want to be. So sometimes you have to stop and think, is the lifestyle I'm living what I want? You know, when I started Mary Kay, I think you guys have heard this story. I had that carpet was indoor outdoor carpet. Like Nicole and Donnie just bought a house and they're ripping out their carpet and putting down brand new carpet. Well, we didn't have the money for that. So the carpet that we had, which had cigarette stains, indoor outdoor carpet with cigarette stains all over it, all I could do was just put little throw rugs as strategically as I could to cover as many of them as I could. And so that was just a condition. That was just the situation that we were in. I heard one of the national sales directors said that there's broke people and there's poor people. Broke people who just don't have the money. They're just in a financial situation. We just got married. We just had our first baby. You know, CJ is just moving up their career path. And, you know, that's when I chose to do Mary Kay. And we were just in a broke situation. Poor is a state of mind. Poor is a state of mind where you don't even dream of wanting more or having more or being more. And I'm not just talking about materialistic. Although that some of the redecorating stuff that I've been doing in my house lately, I don't know if you saw the pictures on Facebook. Like we just had landscapers come out and redo my trims and my bushes, and not the bushes, but the mulch around it. And it just looks so beautiful. Like I walk out of my yard in the evening now and I can't wait because it just looks so beautiful with the different landscaping lights and things that we got added to it. And it's just, it brings me joy, you know. And so extra money can bring you joy. Not the money itself, but what you get to do with the money. Okay, so just having the money doesn't bring you happiness. It's what you can choose to do with it, whether it's to donate all of it away. You know, that's what brings you joy. But think about, who do you want to be? Okay, so let's think about, you know, how are you letting your own personal obstacles? So I want you to write down on your piece of paper, and then you guys are going to like private message me. You don't have to put this comment unless you want to, and then you're absolutely more than welcome to share that with everybody, because I mean, I would, but you know, not all of you want to share. So why don't you either private message me or you can comment, and I want you to say, like, what are some of the things that you feel are obstacles? What are some things that are obstacles that are holding you back? Okay. And then beside that, I want you to write down and think for a second, how can that obstacle actually be a reason to do more with your business? How could that obstacle actually be a reason? And you know, we talk so much about attitudes and thoughts and what our thoughts are, and that is a perfect example of just shifting your thinking. I've been working with my national area a lot on limiting beliefs. Got a training with that while we were at seminar, and it's just blowing me away. Some of the things that we've been able to discover. So, so that excuse may be something that's actually physically happening, like moving or pregnant, or, you know, let me just give a shout out to Beverly Purvis. Beverly Purvis has been in my unit for 20 years, and her husband passed away on Saturday. He just retired. They were planning their next 30 years of life together. The day he died was actually their 33rd anniversary of being together, of their first date. And he was playing with the dogs, had a heart attack, fell over onto the couch, and was gone instantly. In this process, Beverly knew that the pace setters with Cindy Fox, the pace setters call was going on, was about to start. She had already called 911. She called Cindy to let her know what was going on, and she didn't want her to think that she was just skipping out on it. Of course, at that point, she didn't realize that Steve had passed. But right in the middle of that, she was a "but I did it anyway" person. She actually called, called in and said, "Hey, my husband something just happened. Please pray." And when things are going on in your life, if you're working for somebody else, you don't usually get to just take that time off. Like if you're having a PMS day and you're just like, I just don't feel like doing Mary Kay today. I'm just PMSing. I'm in a bad mood. Oh, can't tell you how many times that's happened. I can just not do something for a couple hours, or maybe even for the day, I find something else to do. Maybe I'll do something that doesn't have to do with people. But for most of the time, if you had a job and you were PMSing, you can't take that time off. You go to that job. So what's the change if you've got something that's like you're moving and you still have a job that you have, like moving in state or in the same city, but you were moving, you would still have to go to that job. Okay, for example, Nicole and Donnie moving. Donnie is already working down in Florida, and after work, he then is going over to the house and help working because we're replacing the carpet. He's going over there after work. He still has to go to his job. He can't just say, oh, well, it's time to redecorate the house, so I'm going to stop everything. I'm going to go redecorate. No, he's still going to his job. And so when you treat your Mary Kay like it's a real job, like it's a real income producing, life changing for you, for other people phenomenon, when you get to that point that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine not doing Mary Kay. I had to make myself not do Mary Kay. I love it. 27 years later, I still love it that much. I have to make myself stop. Like on Sundays especially, it's like, nope, just close the door. I'm not going into my office. Everybody's watching football. I'm gonna go do, I'm gonna go paint something, or I'll go do something in my house. But we can so easily say, oh, but God first, family second, and career third. I need to not do Mary Kay today because my family needs you. Well, I can tell you that the sacrifices, some of the very, very minimal sacrifices, because really it was just a matter of rearranging my schedule that I made. Like my kids do not remember me missing anything. I missed stuff. I didn't miss the big things, and I went to most everything. And if I couldn't go to all of it, I would try to go to some of it. Whether it was sports or drama or whatever it was. I always carpooled the first shift. I would take them because that always worked into my schedule, because usually picking up was like right in the middle of a meeting or a party or something. So I could easily take them, and then I would carpool with other people where they would bring, my kids home. But I could carpool and I could go, and then I could stay and hang out for a little bit, and then I would leave. So, it was just really a matter of rearranging my schedule, not necessarily avoiding it or not doing it. It was just really about those priorities. It's going back to those priorities and your why. Why are you doing this? And if your why is big enough, then the how to and why to and when to won't matter. You'll find a way and make a way. But when you're thinking of your Mary Kay as a hobby, you'll get hobby results. If you're thinking of Mary Kay as well, it's just kind of my fun thing to do on the side, which is a hobby, then it'll just be that fun thing to do on the side. And of course, you give up hobbies when things happen. Like I love to paint rooms, and if I'm moving, I'm probably not going to paint rooms because, we're moving now, or, like you just don't normally like shopping. If we're moving, I may be shopping for some other things, but, like I'm not going to just go shopping for the sake of window shopping just because, when we're moving, So you may give up your hobby, but you won't give up your job. And so my seminar, one of my seminar speeches that I gave was talking about your job. You know, sometimes you have to just do your job, even if you are PMSing and you don't feel like it. You know, if I was PMSing and I didn't feel like it and I had something booked, I still went. I still went and did my job. If so what are some of the things that we do? You guys know, interviews is your job. Doing makeovers is your job. Taking the time to get the bookings is your job. Following up with customers is your job. You know, more education to get better at what you do, that is part of what supports your job. That may not actually be your job. You know, but those are things that are in behind the scenes that help to support what you do. But your actual job is interviews, faces, and sales. I know you guys have heard IFS until you're probably sick of it, but that's what we do. So don't be sick of it. Just find a way to find joy in doing it. Okay, so what was the obstacle that you feel like is hindering you or holding you back, and how can you flip that into a valid reason? And then I want you to share that with me. And then the other thing I wanted to go over tonight, and I'm going to try and make these 45-minute calls, because I think what was happening is Facebook, I think, actually kicks me off in 45 minutes. I think is what was happening. So we'll see if it kicks me off tonight. It could also just be the connections get weak or whatever. Okay, so the other thing that I want to go over are what we call limiting beliefs. Okay. Callie, if it's cutting out, then switch over. If you go to that Facebook page and go, it says the connection is weak. Go to the bottom, and there is a link to YouTube and to Google Plus, and you can go over there and you can watch it from there. And I can't copy and paste it from my computer to here. It would be nice if I could, but oh, I think I already did maybe. Anyway, it is on Facebook. Okay, limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs is usually when you leave the But I Did It Anyway club, the BIDIA club. Because you're telling yourself, oh, you're not as skinny as everybody else, or you're not as smart as all of those others. If they knew my past, I just, you know, there's no way that I could be successful with my past. Like, why would God give me something good when I haven't been good? Or it could be, I was going to share one of the consultants that I've been doing this with, going over, she doesn't want to bother others. So this is, and she said I could give her name, so Diana Perry. The YouTube link is in a comment under the Hangouts post. Thank you, Michelle. Can you copy that and put that in this? If you can do that, in this newsfeed would be great. Okay, so I don't want to bother anyone, but I don't want to bother other people. She's a very Southern mentality of, you know, you don't want to impose. And so she flipped that to a positive affirmation. When you're doing positive affirmations, you cannot use the word not. You can't say, I'm not, well, that wouldn't work, but I'm not bothering people. So you have to actually put it into a positive affirmation as if it's happening, not definitely like I hope or, you know, in the future. It's what is happening now, because you're basically tricking your brain into believing the good as opposed to believing what you have. The hang up, but Facebook is cutting in and out like internet service is fluctuating. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. You guys can click on that YouTube link, and if that will work better than the YouTube, the Facebook. I don't know why Facebook doesn't like us. Anyway, so the power statement is, it's a privilege to help others. Instead of, I don't want to bother people, it's a privilege to help others. I get to offer them a great product at a great value, products to make them feel better. Appointments are about relaxing and pausing their world for an hour. Sharing Mary Kay is not just a business, but it's a lifestyle. and I can encourage others personally, emotionally, and mentally. Hey, Angelina, how cool is that for an affirmation? Another one is, I don't have it all together. I'm not polished enough. The affirmation was, oh, I must not have wrote that down. But I think the affirmation is, I am enough. I mean, it doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just switch what you've been saying. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not enough. Not blah, 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 blah. I am enough. You are enough. God made you the way you are because you're perfect. In God's eyes, you're perfect. So I'll never be able to, can I really do it? It's been so long. Okay, wait, some of these I didn't write the affirmation, so I can't. I can't do that one. Anyway, I was trying to see. So let me pull out, here's that folder's empty. Let me grab one more. Well, I can tell you about Chelsea. Chelsea Atkins, now Ratchford. One of her affirmations, she lives in a small town in West Virginia, was she had gotten into the belief system that people in her hometown do not have the financial resources to start with a store. And so we talked a little bit about what does a store really mean, kind of changed her thoughts on that. And now her affirmation is something to the effect of, you know, it's valuable and important to begin with a store. You know, something that simple. And since we made that shift in her limited belief, she has had, which has been 4 weeks, 2 were involved in her wedding. Okay, so 2 weeks of working. She has had 3 consultants begin with 2 as a sapphire and 1 as a ruby star. Just from changing what she believed, because then her conversations were different. So what you are thinking about, you are bringing about. So why not think about something positive so that you can bring about positive instead of things that are limiting you? So your assignment, and again, you do not need to post these on the wall, but you can if you want others to be encouraged by your and my conversation on this. You know, like if you want me to help you to flip them and what would be an affirmation on that, we can do that. So you need to write down 5, and it has to be 5. So if I said to you, you could be in your pink Cadillac by summer. I mean, it's September, so October, November, December. So the way Cadillacs work is 2 quarters back to back. So the new quarter starts October. So you could start DIQ October 1st. Your DIQ production for October, November, December would count towards your Cadillac. Go January, February, March, win your Cadillac in March, and pick it up by June, because it takes 3 months. So once you start qualification, it's about 9 months before you get your Cadillac. So if I said to you, you could have your Cadillac, you could have your Cadillac by June, by summer. What is saying in your head? Are you saying, yes, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can. I will. I must. I can do this. Do you have that kind of conviction? Are you like, yeah, that would be nice, but you don't know my work schedule, or that would be nice. You don't know that nothing good happens to me, or you have to write down what are the 5 things that you're saying in your head. Sometimes it's a little whisper. It's so small, you may not even hear it yet until you start digging in. Because sometimes these limiting beliefs are so embedded in your thoughts, you don't even realize you're doing it. Don't even realize you're doing it. One of the conversations was with somebody. Let me see what's here. I can't find it. Anyway, I've just had so many now. They're kind of starting to run together. But it is so powerful. It is so important. And maybe it was a limiting belief from somebody who's given it to you. I mean, usually that's what ends up happening. You know, one of my sisters always told me I was a redneck. Of course, I am in a plaid looking, it's a dress. It does look kind of like I cut off the sleeves of a plaid shirt. So maybe this does look a little redneck today. But my sister always told me that I was so redneck. And I would always hear that in the back of my head, that I'm not sharp enough. I'm not polished enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not good enough. You know, I'm not good enough to have a good boyfriend. So I chose bad boyfriends. And so it could be something that someone has said to you, and then you kept replaying that recorder over and over and over again. So what we need to do is, you can't just throw away that recorder, because that empty space will go back to what you know. Okay? As Linda Tupin says, that crease in your brain. So what you need to do is you need to flip it, that limiting belief, so that you stop programming your brain to create the results that you believe. So if I say that I'm not good enough to have a good boyfriend, I'm going to choose bad boyfriends because I want my brain to be right. Think about that. I didn't think I was good enough to have a good boyfriend, so I chose bad boyfriends because I didn't want my brain to be wrong. So if you say, for example, if you're on a diet, and if you say, I can't lose weight, I can't lose weight, I can't lose weight, well, guess what? You're going to sneak little pieces of chocolate here. You're going to grab a couple pieces of chips over here, and you're going to start adding all of these empty extra calories that look, I've been dieting and I just can't lose weight, is what you're going to tell the world. And in your brain, you're like, see, there you go. You can't lose weight. I told you can't lose weight. Well, you created, because if you lower your calories and you increase your activity, biologically, you will lose weight. So either you're not exercising as much as you said you are, or the right exercises, or you're sneaking food and you're embezzling food. You know, like you're sneaking it and you're not even counting those calories. Because if you did those two things, you will lose weight unless you have a thyroid issue. That would be the only reason. If you truly have, and even in that situation, you probably could still lose weight with the exercise and then the calorie change. It also happens that when you lose weight and in your head, you're still thinking, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, you will end up gaining that weight. So a lot of people who lose weight and then don't keep it off is because they still have a mental picture of them being fat. Or in my head, it's like, I'm fat. And so your brain doesn't want you to be a liar. So it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. What you think about, you will bring about. It's biblical. As a man thinketh, so is he. Why would God say that in the Bible? As a man thinketh, so is he. So what you think is what you are. And here's the beauty of this. Here's the joy in this message. You can change your thoughts. Your thoughts are only words. Words happen because you put the words in here, or somebody put the words in here and you keep saying them. But thoughts are words. Thoughts are not feelings. Thoughts are not emotions. A thought is a word. Okay? And I can change my mood like that. I'm in a bad mood. I can choose to stay in a bad mood. I can just start thinking of all the things that just kind of ticked me off today. There are a lot of things every day, aren't there, ladies, that can just kind of tick you off, one thing after another. And I could just stay in that bad mood and just let it, because I just keep thinking about it and keep thinking about it. Well, so-and-so did this and so-and-so said that. And yeah, remember 3 weeks ago when that happened, and all of a sudden you can be in a really bad mood. But you know what? I choose not to live that life. I choose to find the good in everything. I choose to be happy. It's a choice. Why? Because in my head, my words are, I love my little grandson, Crawford. He brings me so much joy. He is so adorable. I love my little puppies, even though I'm probably going to give one away. But I love my little puppies, and they just are so snuggly and cuddly, and I can take them for walks, and we can snuggle, and they just bring me joy, you know? And I love the way my house looks outside right now. Like, I wish I could take you out there and all the landscaping lights and the new mulch, and you know, I can just focus on thinking words on all of the things that are good. All the things that are good. So I choose to think about what's good. Have I always knew? Recently, we were watching some of our home videos, and there was one when, I think it was Nicole was being baptized, or maybe it's Chris's baptism, and I had just started Mary Kay. Maybe it was his baptism. And I was like this. And both of them, my adult children, as I'm just, they're like, Mom, what's wrong with you? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, you're not smiling. I was like, oh, I'm not. I was like, that was before Mary Kay got into me. That was before I knew that all you have to do is smile and you're going to feel better. I was like, well, there's a perfect example, son and daughter, of the mom that almost raised you, because that is the mom that I would have been, the woman that never smiled. And now I can just like be at my desk and I'll think of something and just start smiling. So write down your 5 limiting beliefs and then flip it. So remember, you can't say not. So for example, this may not be a limiting belief, but here's an example. I smoke. So if you don't want to smoke, you don't say, I don't want to smoke, or I don't smoke anymore, or I don't smoke, because the word, your brain didn't hear the word not. And so if you smoke and you don't want to smoke, it's like drinkers. You can't just say, I don't drink. You have to replace that with something completely different, because your brain is hearing, instead of I don't drink or I don't smoke, it's still hearing smoke and drink. So it's still keeping that in your head. But if you say, instead of I don't smoke, you can say, I am so healthy. I live a healthy lifestyle. I love to do healthy things. I love walking. I love eating healthy. I love breathing in clean air. I love it. You know, I love, smelling so pretty and so clean. So like whatever it is, write down your 5 limiting beliefs and get them to me somehow. Maybe you want to email it to me. Maybe it's a little longer and we can do it as an email. Or you may want to set me up. Okay, it's time. You may want to set me up on a coaching call, and I can work with you on how to overcome some of those limiting beliefs. So BIDIA, but I did it anyway. Do not let your excuses stop you. Use your excuses as a reason that you can, you will, you must. Be who you want to be. Be a victor, not a victim. Do your job. Sometimes you don't feel like it. Sometimes there's things that get in the way. But if you want others to take your job serious, your Mary Kay serious, then you need to take it serious as well. Okay? And then write down your 5 limiting beliefs. What is that little thing saying in your head that's stopping you from the success? And you know, LB, limiting belief, LB also stands for pounds. And those limiting beliefs are weighing you down from being the success that God has intended you to be. Thank you guys for being on session 5 of the Mary Kay Way. I love your comments. I'm sorry to those who I read your comments apparently last week, but here's my little chart. that I didn't open up my little thing and check you off. So I apologize for that. So we'll just make sure that everybody is on track with this. But I love your comments of what you've taken away and what you're learning from each session. If you need to go back and redo some of the sessions and text them to me, I will let you catch up so that you can get the Mary Kay Way prize and certificate. So love you all. Thank you for participating. Bye. Yay, we didn't get cut off. That's exciting.